are some video game enemies who are more trouble than they're worth when an adversary has instant kill attacks, healing powers, a massive health bar, or itsy bitsy teeny weeny weak spots. Throwing the controller across the room in frustration is likely. In situations like this, players wish there was an easier way to put an end to things, and sometimes there is. I'm Sai for WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 video game bosses with genius hidden weaknesses. Number 10, Capra Demon, Dark Souls. After reaching the Undead Berg in Dark Souls, our unnamed protagonist is stopped dead in his tracks by a Capra demon. The brawl takes place in a confined room, dramatically impairing the player's movements. On top of that, the demon's attack dogs keep stunning the player, making it difficult to tackle the sinister satyr head on. Luckily, there are ways to make this bout easier. If the Ring of Fog is equipped, the mangy mutt will ignore our hero, allowing him to focus all his attention on the boss. But by equipping another item, it's possible to vanquish the goat beast before setting foot in his room. That secret weapon is crap. Literally. While standing on the other side of the fog gate, the player can hurl dung pies over the wall, plopping right onto the demon's head. Making contact with excrement triggers the toxic status effect, sapping away the Capra's health. Once he's been hit with 10 or so dung pies, the feral fiend will succumb to his demise. What a way to go. Although there are similar strategies to best the Capra, this one is by far the funniest. Number 9, Hooktail, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. The first chapter of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door concludes with Mario duking it out with a dragon called Hooktail. This beefy beast may be the first big boss, but she's not going to make things easy. Throughout the brawl, the wicked wyvern blasts Mario with her fire breath and gulps down his allies when she's feeling a bit peckish. However, the Mushroom Kingdom's beloved hero should have no trouble with Hooktail if he takes advantage of her weakness. In the village near Hooktail's castle, Mario can find a letter mentioning how the dragon fears something beginning with CR and ending in Ikit. That's right, she's afraid of very boring sports. Oh, wait, no, that's not quite what it means. What it's actually getting at is equipping the Attack FX R badge, which lets out a cricket chirp when Mario hits his target. Unless the player found this letter, they'd have no incentive to equip the item since it seems useless. But if Mario batters Hooktail while this badge is in tow, the nasty lizard's attacks and defenses will plummet. After hearing that chirping a couple of times, Hooktail will call it a day. Number 8, Gandahar, Two Worlds 2. In most games, the hero doesn't get a chance to confront their arch-nemesis until the climax of the story, but in Two Worlds 2, the central antagonist, Emperor Gandahar, shows up during the prologue. If the player attacks the Dark Wizard during this encounter, he'll retaliate with a fireball, putting an end to the adventure then and there. Obviously, this meeting is designed so it's impossible to beat Gandahar. After all, the developers wouldn't let the big bad bite the dust in the first couple of minutes, would they? Well, at least not intentionally. After attacking Gandahar, the hero can make their way towards a nearby village and hide amongst the citizens. If Gandahar blasts one of the villagers, all of the invincible NPCs will wail on the malevolent mage, murdering him. And that's it. Once Gandahar's health gauge is empty, it skips straight to the ending of the game, assuming that the player has beaten the main campaign fair and square. Unsurprisingly, this glitch was patched out soon after it became common knowledge, since it allowed players to complete Two Worlds 2 in 5 minutes, when a normal playthrough should take over 20 hours. Number 7, yevon, Final Fantasy X. To avoid spoiling a, 20-year-old game at this point, in Final Fantasy X's climax, Tidus and friends must essentially face down a giant monster that's got the power of sin. Once the player defeats this, they move on to the final enemy, which is Sin's creator, yevon. Even though yevon doesn't have a ton of HP, the cosmic parasite is infuriating since he restores a ton of health every time he's attacked. Despite the fact that Tidus' team can't technically lose this battle, players will find themselves in a stalemate unless they get creative. Although there are several ways to get around yevon's annoying strategy, there is one clever technique that can't fail. If the player wishes to end this showdown as quickly as possible, and let's be honest, why wouldn't you? All they have to do is cast a zombie on the overgrown bedbug. Now that yevon is technically undead, bestowing him with the life-giving item, Phoenix Down, will have the opposite effect, destroying him in an instant. Sure, it's a really cheap tactic, but it's pretty justified since yevon doesn't exactly fight fair himself. Number 6, Spider Mastermind, Doom 2016. At the end of 2016's Doom, the Doomslayer must go head to ugly head with his original nemesis, the Spider Mastermind. Even if the Doomslayer's weapons are fully upgraded and have maximum ammo, victory cannot be guaranteed. The quadrupedal brain moves erratically and forces the player to do the same, making it tough to land a shot. If the Doomslayer keeps missing, he'll run out of ammo fast, leaving him with his basic pistol, which is useless against the foe. Although ammo does respawn, it's not much help up near the end of the fight when the spider mastermind has poisoned the entire battlefield. Although players would think the BFG 9000 would turn the tide, it barely makes a dent in the enemy's gargantuan health bar. Luckily, there's a little trick that turns this scrap into a cakewalk. Immediately after shooting the mastermind with the BFG, open the weapon wheel option. By doing so, the gameplay will slow down, causing the BFG shot to last longer, causing heavy damage to the apocalyptic arachnid. By exploiting this simple but devastating glitch, Doom's final boss can be brought down in 2 shots. Number 5. Jack Krauser, Resident Evil 4. Facing Jack Krauser in RE4 is grueling since the insidious soldier launches smoke bombs, grenades, crawling drones and hovering drones while spraying our curtain-head hero Leon S. Kennedy with an endless supply of bullets. And he can also sneak up from behind Leon and slit his throat, killing him instantly. Oh yeah, and also the area is rigged with timed explosives, meaning the player must defeat Krauser quickly or risk starting the section all over again. Once you get through that and reach the top of the tower, Krauser spawns a massive sword arm, initiating the last part of the fight. This phase is a nightmare since Krauser can use his blade like a shield to deflect Leon's most powerful attacks. If he trips Leon up, the menacing mercenary can cut him in 2, ending the battle in one fell swoop. However, Krauser can be killed with the weakest weapon in Leon's arsenal, the survival knife. Even though the shotgun and magnum barely stun Krauser, a few slashes from Leon's blade will make short work of him. Relying on this strategy is actually handy as well, since it helps Leon conserve ammo for later, making the final stages of the game drastically easier. Number 4. Experiment number Z57, Metroid Dread. In Samus Aran's latest outing, many players found themselves getting killed again and again by experiment number Z57. Z57 telegraphs its attacks, but it's still tricky to avoid them since the screen-filling behemoth constantly sweeps the arena with its tentacles and plasma breath. On top of that, the beastie sprays the floor with burning plasma, limiting Samus's ability to fight and strategize. The second phase of the battle is much harder since Z57 has more attack patterns and can regenerate health. Worst of all, the tyrannical test subject can activate the room's fans, which blow Samus into a scalding wall unless she keeps dashing forwards. However, the bounty hunting heroine can use the fans to her advantage. If Samus runs while the fans are active, she can trigger the Shine Spark ability, allowing her to cut through enemies' defenses. Although there's not enough room to activate the Shine Spark against other bosses, Samus will have this opportunity once the fans are operational, since she'll be spinning on the spot for at least a few seconds. After the Shine Spark is activated, Samus can charge straight at Z57, ending the battle prematurely. Number 3. Calais Demos, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Calais Demos is arguably the easiest boss in the Wind Waker. All Link has to do to beat the bloated Boko Baba is use the boomerang to disconnect its vines from the ceiling. When they're all cut down, Calais Demos drops to the floor and opens its plumage, allowing the hero of time to hack at its vulnerable bud. After performing this action a couple of times, this Venus human trap is toast. But if the player can't be bothered with any of that, there's a sneaky way to defeat Calais Demos that requires no skill whatsoever. Firstly, fill Link's bottle with forest water before entering the plant's territory. Once Calais Demos drops to the floor, Link can kill it straight away by pouring the water into its weak spot. Granted, the forest water spoils after 30 minutes, meaning the player can't hang around for too long if they intend to fell this forest beast the easy way, but so long as Link fills his bottle before entering Calais Demos' domain, the scrap can be over and done with in 30 seconds flat. Number 2. The End, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Ah yes, the classic. The secret way to defeat this Metal Gear Solid 3 boss is so well known, some people have never beaten the old codger the traditional way. Being over 100 years old, the End doesn't look particularly threatening, but since he has over 80 years of military training under his belt, the sniper is a force to be reckoned with. Unless Snake is a master of stealth, tracking, detection, sharpshooting, and adaptability, he's not going to walk out of this jungle alive. To avoid ending up in an early grave, players must pull out all the stops, or they can cheat. If the player doesn't play MGS3 for a week after they reach this point, 7 days will have passed in the game as well when it's booted up. Alternatively, the system's internal clock can be adjusted manually, so it seems like 1 week has passed. Upon returning to the game, Snake will see the End has died of old age, allowing him to skip the battle completely. Number 1. Star Scourge Radan, Elden Ring. Of the hundreds of bosses that Elden Ring presents, Star Scourge Radan is amongst the most daunting. He may be an optional foe, but the legendary demigod must be eliminated if the player wishes to unlock the true ending. However, defeating Radan is a Herculean task. Even with the most powerful weapons, upgrades, spells, and stats, Radan can end the fight with one swing of his blades. As a result, any tactic revolving around healing potions is obsolete. Once Radan loses half his health, he'll execute his most most devastating move, launching himself into the sky before crashing to the earth with the force of an asteroid. Not only is this an instant kill, it's astoundingly difficult to dodge. Ironically, this onslaught will prove to be Radan's undoing. Although his skills in combat are unequaled, the fiery titan isn't great at judging distances. When Radan soars into the air to prep his finisher, the player needn't worry. If they stand at the shore while staring out at the water, Radan will plow right into the sea, bringing the battle to an abrupt but welcome end. Essentially, you've just tricked this boss into killing itself, and as it turns out, there are plenty more video game bosses where this is the case. Click the video on screen now to watch 8 video game bosses you can trick into killing themselves. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment down below, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more content every day. I've been Sai for WhatCulture, and have a good week.